Hey guys, welcome tonight to Saturday night edition of the Pizza World Diaries. This is V-Man from No Budget Productions, and with me tonight is from the Dreadnought Dominion, Captain Brousseau himself, Gary Davis. How are we doing, Gary?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty
Right,
good.
right on, man. Well, I keep trying to bug you to be on the show, and then I forget to set a date, and so then since we're both so busy, I keep forgetting, and then keep forgetting, and keep forgetting. We finally locked in a date, and then tonight, yet again, we both kind of forgot about it.
That's
So
right. It's a good thing for reminders on our computer.
it is. If it wasn't for my phone like beeping at me going, Gary Davis, I'm like, oh shit, I better remind him. If it wasn't for that, we would be disappointing a lot more people. It's
That's right.
Oh man. So first off, I want to say thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, right on, man. We've been friends for what, 5 years now, 6 years now, a while.
Oh wow, we started like in I think 2014, 15. Yeah, so it's been a lot of days. Empty bottle.
It's been a while, and I've got to say, you've been a voice of reason on many days. You've been an inspiration on other days. And then a headache on other days, like, oh man, how am I going to get this done? So it's to be able to sit here and just kind of bullshit with you for an hour or so.
Yeah.
I consider it a privilege.
Thank you.
So of course, anybody that knows Pizza Roll Diaries, you guys know that I'm kind of uncensored. We say just whatever. So it's not we don't really pull any punches here. We're just two guys, two friends talking. So that being said, let me go ahead and welcome everybody that's in the room so far that I see. I see one of my creepiest stalkers, and Gary probably knows him. They shot him out the airlock as quickly as possible, and then he rotated around the ship to the other side. Frank Parker Jr. Good God.
He is.
Commodore Grissom, or Admiral Grissom now. Thank you, Frank, for showing up. Then we have USS RNG. How are we doing, brother? Welcome. It is for a change. You're up here at the beginning, and I consider it a privilege. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Then we have Star Trek Eagle here. Thank you very much, STE. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here, man. And Frank says he would have called. See, that's that creeper thing we were talking about there. That's why I got shoved out the airlock. That's what we're talking about. So we got those people here, and as people start coming in, we'll welcome them in. So a couple of things we have before we start the show. On Monday, we have Drew Manker, who plays Menard's dad. He'll be doing the Pizza Roll Diaries with me. And he's my boss at work. He's my best friend. And, he's a guy that's worked with me both in front of and behind the camera plenty of times. So I figured it'd be fun to kind of shoot the shit with him. So if any of you guys are interested, that's Monday at 9 in the morning. Then the following Monday, we've got Glenn Wolfe. Fingers crossed, as long as his work doesn't call him in for something, we'll be chatting with him. So, and he's from Warp 66 Studios. He's also Federation Files. All around fun guy. He's been in plenty of other films. If you, a lot of people say I'm the Where's Waldo of fan films. I think it's Glenn Wolfe. You watch hard enough, and you'll see him pop up. And in one film, he appears in like 2 scenes together. He's in the transporter room, then he's on the bridge, and you're like, wait, what? Am I seeing double? It's, you could say it's the mirror version of Wolfe popping up. So hopefully we get him on that Monday again, if his work doesn't call him in. Then the week after that, we have Adam Mullen, who does a lot of the scoring for my films. He's also done a lot of scoring in other, not only fan productions, but video games, and just a wonderful music composer in general. So he'll be joining us the week after that. And then we have Leslie Sawyer, the final week of April. She'll be joining us, and she has appeared in a couple of my films, and she is also appearing in a few of the upcoming ones that I'm going to be doing. Hopefully we can wrap those up this season, and if they can't get done this season, then they'll be released for next season. But she'll be appearing in the last Pizza Roll Diaries for this month. And then next month we have Paul, and I think his last name is Jacques, I think. I'm not sure on his last name. I'm terrible with names, as you guys know. We also have Amy Page, who plays Nancy Zing from the Constar series. And then Nancy, and I'm not sure her last name. I couldn't pronounce it, but you guys know her online as V-Star. So she's she'll be doing talking about her projects of what she's doing and whatnot for not only our community, but just the community in general for entertainers. So I figured it would be nice to kind of chat with her. On one of these Saturdays, we're going to be having Dylan Sides, who, if you are, if you've seen trailers for Batman Other Worlds, and you can look up the trailer online, it will be releasing, the film itself will be releasing toward the end of this month. We'll be getting involved and talking with him to do one of the Pizza Roll Diaries, probably on a Saturday night. I'm not sure which one. So just stick around, keep an eye out for that. I know if YouTube's been really kind of fucked up on the algorithms and unsubscribing people. So just keep checking back and watching my Facebook or the community tab here, because I always try to update whenever possible. So that being said, the only other thing of importance is we do have a No Budget Productions store. It's in the description of the video here. As I've said before on past videos, I'm selling the stuff, the merchandise that I have available now at no markup. So basically it's being sold at cost. I'm not making anything off of it, because it's my way of giving back to you guys. So if you guys feel like supporting No Budget Productions or my independent films, you know, shirt wise or cup wise or whatever, you know, you guys just want something kind of cool to have, you know, feel free to check out the store, see if there's something there you like. You know, again, I'm not making any profit off of it, so you guys are getting the cheapest available price. So that being said, going back over to the chat menu to see who's all here. Looks like we have Donna Parker. Well, how are we doing, Donna? That's for those of you that don't know, that's the other one that got thrown out the airlock of the Dominion, who sneaking back in an upcoming film that I'll let Gary talk about here soon. And then we also have William Jackson, who's joined us. And both you guys, welcome. And that being said, you guys have just shot a film here in the past couple weeks, or actually now it's been a couple months now, with Frank and Donna.
Yes.
And your and my relationship started with Frank leaving fan films, and now we've kind of come full circle with them coming back to fan films. What can you tell us about the experience that you just shot with the whole Commodore Grissom, Tamero, the whole kit and caboodle? What can you tell us?
It was great having them back on set. It was a couple months ago that, you know, Frank, you know, messaged Randy Wren, you know, my production partner for Dominion Media, and said, you know, hey, you know, just talk about the old times. And he says, you know, I really miss, you know, the Dreadnought Dominion. And then the conversation just came around to, wow, you know, we should shoot something with you. And, you know, I came up with an idea that we should do something like a temporal anomaly, something, you know, like a Groundhog Day is what I wanted to do with Frank. And then we could show some stuff from our old episodes. But our writer, Randy Wren, he hit it out of the ballpark. He came up with something different. And it's kind of like a reverse It's a Wonderful Life. Because if you remember that movie, you know, the main character, Jimmy Stewart's character, got to see what everyone's life would be without him. Well, we flipped the script, and, you know, the name of this is Passenger with Baggage. So Frank is obviously the passenger with baggage because he felt bad about leaving the Dominion. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we have a resident Q on our ship. So Frank kind of finds out that we've got somebody special on the ship, and he asks the Q to show him what the Minion would have been like if he had stayed on the Dominion. So it really gave us a unique opportunity to revisit some of the older episodes and insert Frank into footage that we already shot. And that was the really fun and challenging part, is to use old footage. We reshot some, but we tried to use the original footage from various episodes, and then just put Frank in with some digital mock-ups and just some clever editing. And I was just beside myself how cool it looked, and have Commodore Grissom back on the bridge. And it was great. So Frank and Donna actually came out twice, because the first time we shot it, I was running DP and I wasn't familiar with the camera, and the footage just didn't come out well at all. So we asked Frank to come back, and he came back while we were shooting our second episode of the year. And we, if we were done in the transporter, then we did a scene with Frank and with Passenger. And then when we were on the bridge, we just jumped to bridge shots. And it was a maddening time. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was maddening, but we got it all. I mean, every frame that we all wanted to do, and so just some special stuff that Frank wanted, and we got it. And it was a great experience.
Now, you guys, forgive me if I cough a little bit too much. I'm getting over a cold from from last week, so forgive me. Now, you guys, having gone from working with Commodore Grissom in the beginning of all the the Dreadnought Dominion, you guys had 2 episodes. You had Anchors Away, and then you had what was the first one?
Well, we first shot Haunted.
That's it, Haunted.
And I'm sorry, we shot Anchors Away first, and then we came back and shot Haunted, and then we released Haunted first because it was our stronger offering. And then later on, Randy Wren and I decided to merge the 2 episodes and make them back to back, and we put out a producer's cut. So it put both adventures together. But technically, yeah, Anchors Away was our first, even though we released it second. So it was kind of confusing.
Well, it's one of those, because you guys were kind enough to let me see an early advanced version of the film. And the one thing that I really loved was the fact that you've clearly established now just how far that you guys have kind of come with this being your ship, and that was the one thing. And I hope I'm not going into spoiler territory, because I don't plan to. So, but the one thing that I loved was the fact, like, this was clearly your ship, with the crew members, is seeing, of course, your cast, and then seeing Frank come back, and it just made you realize this isn't his Dominion anymore, and it's like you guys had grown, and it's kind of like when, a parent looks at their kid's, kindergarten picture, and then they look up and their kid's a teenager right in front of them. And that's kind of how I felt watching this film. And I was like, this is very appropriate for,
us too. Whenever Randy and I would write something and produce something, we tried to throw a little bit of real life into it. So, when we did Chain of Command, we addressed Commodore Grissom leaving and how disappointed we were. And it mirrored life. We were disappointed that Frank went off to do his own thing, but it was a great and noble endeavor. He went off to do Civil Air Patrol. So he was, in real life, he went to Civil Air Patrol to teach young people, the love of aviation and the structure of the military. And then his character on Dreadnought Dominion went to the academy to teach. So we always throw real life into our productions. And then, when we did Reality Check, what we wanted to show our appreciation for the the people in the back you don't get to see them at all. And then Tracy with the silent acknowledgement. We threw in a lot of real life stuff between my relationship with my wife and meeting and having a relationship with a hearing impaired woman. So when we did this one, Passenger with Baggage, like you said, it echoed real life because the production had evolved so much. It's Randy and I's show now, but we wouldn't have been there without Frank. Frank's the one that started us, and every credit that we've listed on all these shows, I got a cheat sheet. These are all my productions. Every single one of these productions, I put series creator Frank Parker, because again, I wouldn't have been there without Frank. I wouldn't have gotten the fan film bug. I mean, we were at a Star Trek convention and Frank said, "Hey, you want to see something?" And I go, "What?" And he had gotten a room at the hotel the convention was at, and he showed us an episode of Starship Farragut. And bah, my mind was blown. Wait a minute. These are just regular people. And what are they doing? They got costumes. They got the phasers. They have a story. This is awesome. So, it was all Frank's fault. He's the one that got me in this. And I drove 14 hours to Georgia to be in these shows. So he got me hooked. He got me hooked. So I again, on Passenger, it was not only to welcome him back and close the loop on his baggage, but let him know that we were all there because of him. And Brosseau said the same thing. You taught me well, and it's true with the character, and it's true with what I do now.
Well, and that's one of the things when you and I first met. It was, Frank had left and whatnot. So, we came up with the story of Chain of Command because it was kind of a, what do we do with the production, and we came up with the story of Chain of Command. Then we did Command and Conquer, which was kind of the mirror universe version of that. And we still told the story of fuck Grissom, and now, I kind of got the wild hair up my ass. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we told that same story again? Because again, nothing's better than telling the same story.
That's right. That's right.
Here's looking at you, modern Star Trek, but we decided, I thought, wouldn't it be great? Because we've told it in regular universe, the story of Grissom leaving, and then the story of the mirror universe doing it. What about the Kelvin universe? Because that's something that, we haven't done, and that would be kind of a fresh take on this. And in the first one, Menard kind of addresses you. And again, hope it's not anyone that doesn't want spoilers, kind of turn away. So, and I penned half the episode, so don't, and I know Randy did a rewrite, so don't, I don't feel bad about spoiling my part of it. So, but this is the first time where it's the first one we dealt with Frank, kind of leaving, and it's hey, Gary, you step up, which I felt was appropriate at the time because this was now your show. And then the second one, I really didn't like Frank because I kept seeing him pop up in my newsfeed, and I was like, I hate that dude. Screw him. But this time I was like, what if Menard was like, hey man, why don't you go talk to him? You're sitting here all mopey, go talk to him. Because it's especially in the fan film community in the world, everybody's butthurt over something, and it's why don't you go talk to him? And this is I feel like this version of Menard's he's more reasonable because he's sitting there saying, let's go talk to him, dude, and it plus it gets you in the Kelvin uniform, which I was like, who doesn't want to see Gary in a new uniform? That's exactly. There you go, Mr. Modest. You look good, strapping young man. So it was a way to get all of us in new uniforms, and appropriate, and tell a new side of the same story, a third side of a two-headed coin per se.
Definitely.
But what's your take on being able to tell that story and then kind of come full circle, because it is the same story but kind of completed because we've included Frank.
Yeah, I love that story. I loved Chain of Command, and I loved the script that you wrote for it, and then what was it? It was, a year later, you call me up out of the blue and say, "Can you make an agony booth?" And I'm like, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, I want to do a mirror." And I go, "Okay." He says, "And I want to redo Chain of Command." I went, "What?" I go, "That's not gonna." Okay, I'm listening. And so when you came up with this idea to finish the story, but in the Kelvin universe, I was like, "Oh no, okay, sounds like a good idea." And so, I'm making my set that I can shoot my stuff on, and I've got all the Kelvin graphics ready for it. I just have to put in my lens flares. So there's going to be lens flares like you can't imagine on this thing.
So we can blind the audience. They won't be able to see where the subscribe button is. We're gonna
it's gonna be. I won't go overboard with the lens flare, but I'm gonna have to do lens flare. So this set that I'm building, it's a original series version of the Runabout, and it's kind of dark for the TOS version, but I think I'm gonna lighten it up for the Kelvin universe, and it'll have all different graphics. So it'll be the same set, but I'm hoping it's going to look different. And I'm going to put a video out to show the contrast between the two sets.
Well, based on what you've shown me, like I was blown away by it. I was like, man, I want to pack up my stuff here and go camp out there, because it's awesome. Like the first time I went to the sets. And I thought, man, I want to sleep on this TOS set, even though it's underneath the thing, it's just hard concrete. Like you're just like, screw it, I don't care. I want to just camp out here, and that's how I felt looking at your pictures. I was like, this is awesome. You've got some really good sets there.
Mine's going to actually have a queen-sized bunk, a queen-sized memory foam bunkhouse with a 32-inch television, and going to soundproof it. And then it's going to have a Jeffries tube, and I'm going to see if I can make the Jeffries tube a twin sleeping area, so you can sleep in the Jeffries tube. So yeah, I want to be able to have people come over and shoot, and I'm hoping other fan films might take me up on the offer to come on down, and I would love to loan out the set.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about working with you. You said that I asked you, hey, can you build an agony booth? Well, I mean, at the time, putting things in perspective, like you were the one building, like I think 3 captain's chairs at the time. Like you've been such a, and I think at the time, I mean, hell, right here, I have, you built me this, which all of you guys, I mean, you did that just because, just because, I needed one for filming. Yeah. See, look at all those things, I mean,
that. And then I got more stuff. So more stuff just comes out. I just like recreating things. And, that harp right back there was one of the first things I did. And I always joke. I said, they're far from perfect, but they look perfect from afar.
Well, that's the thing. Like looking at it up close, like, of course, you see the imperfections, but that's anything. Like every time I go to the bridge, I instantly go there and I'm like, okay, what do I need to fix? But it's like on camera, it's like, oh my God, it looks perfect.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's what this set downstairs is going to look like. And, I'm learning from people that shoot, blur your background a little bit so that it hides the imperfections, because, the actor is your focus. So right. It's going to work out. So right now I'm just working on the green screen portion of the set so that I can project, the space that we're flying in. And then the infamous Sam Cockings is going to do some renders of the Runabout itself from the exterior, so we can show both the interior and the exterior of the craft.
Now, Frank Parker says, okay, guys, we need to do a Dreadnought, Constar, and Crossroads combined episode at Gary's house. My only requirement is as long as he brings the marshmallows. So
Marshmallows. Sounds good.
Right? Now, Michael
Oh,
says all these. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I've got a captain's chair downstairs with a green screen behind it, and so it's going to be a full service set. And I'm sure we could fake, other ships being down there as well.
See, and that's the thing I love about you is, well, that goes into what Michael King just said. All these creative people so far away. Hold on, I gotta stop. Frank Parker just says banana hammocks. Okay, calm down there, Frank. This is why you got booted off the Dreadnought Dominion. Okay, just calm down there. No, like Michael says, all these creative people so far away, and I think, I mean, it's one of those things like that's kind of like when you and I first started working together. We pretty much had the limitations. People weren't really working together the way they do now, and now it's kind of an expected thing. Like if you're far away, you're like, just shoot this and here we go.
Green screen.
Yeah, and now it's almost expected. And it's saying, hey, what can you do from home? What can you do here? I can do this, because at the time I had the Starbase Studio sets, you had a green screen, and then I didn't, for a while I haven't had nothing, and you had the Georgia set. It's back and forth, and I think there's a lot of creative people out there that if you just tap into, the motivation, if your motivation's there, you can make a film. Is that your?
Oh yeah, and sometimes you just need a corner. You could fake so much that it's just not funny. And like when we shot Chain of Command, I didn't have a set, so I just went down to my office, and I just worked at a small little office building, and we had a conference room, and I hung some lights, and I took some black pieces of wood and put them up against the walls to make it look like the Enterprise has the bulkheads, and just cast different lights, and I hid different things. So you could cheat a lot. I learned that expression from Mike Bednar from Starship Farragut's, because we were shooting, and he goes, I need to do a straight on shot, and I go, but there's nothing behind me. And he goes, no, we're going to move you to a different chair and we'll cheat your shot. And I go, what? And he says, yeah, we're going to cheat the shot. And then we shot it, and it looked amazing. And it's that creativity. I'll never stop learning things from people, and I always listen to everything people tell me, because I'm never going to be professed to say I know everything. So I listen to everybody, and that's what makes. I think I'm a pretty good filmmaker, and you make me a good filmmaker, and Randy makes me a good filmmaker. But I listen and take challenges. I've said it many times that you are like our force of nature. You are a hurricane, and all the good stuff as well that pushes us to do better.
I appreciate the compliment. I don't know how entirely accurate that is, but I appreciate it. I like to think that great minds think alike. When I first met you, like I was baby stepping a lot of this, and I think we just came and hit each other at the right time, where it's definitely. We both were kind of like, I don't really know, but fuck it, we're gonna fail together. And exactly. And we both just sort of failed upwards in this community, and now here we are. One of the things when I visited the Georgia sets, I noticed, because I'm the same way like you are. Like wherever I go, I kind of soak in the information, because I want to know, how can I use this, to my advantage. Because you never know when it's going to be important later on, or when you can share that information, or when it can be useful. And the one thing I noticed was, like, on the wall, I noticed a paint tray, on as a yellow deco on one of the things, and I was like, is that what that is? I thought those were really important things that were on this, and they weren't. Like, nothing there was important. It was all just stuff that was spray painted and I was like, that's fucking genius. So when I started doing my own, like, that's what that is over there. It's what that is over there. It's, and those things right there, and that right there inspired my, okay, I can think of this. What is it? Because for like 30 some videos, I couldn't think of it. Pool noodle. Okay. Pool noodle. I got it right.
Pool noodle. Yeah.
Fucking yes! I for 30-some videos, I couldn't think of what it was, and I'd be like, the thingy, the blue thingy, and I couldn't think of what the name was. Pool noodles. Ah, I fucking got it. Yes, my first grade teacher told me I was a winner, and I knew I was. Yes.
Now you just have to label that GNDN as a GNDN conduit.
That's right. What does it stand for again?
Goes nowhere, does nothing.
Does nothing. That's right. That's right.
That's all over the sets.
Right. But that's the thing, you know, those type of things, seeing that, you know, it's instead of spending hundreds of dollars on something that's made and custom, like using something that you're like, you know, as soon as I was done painting the rest of the wall, because that little paint tray is what Royce used, because he couldn't use the big one, you know, so he would use the little. So as soon as we were done, I washed it out, painted it, you know, spray painted it yellow, and we stuck it on the wall, you know.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you know, but it's, I would have to say that, you know, George Cayenne was a big influence for me, and you were also a big influence, because there you were just making shit up as you went. You've made your own, what was it, dilithium crystal chamber or something?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was about to say it was in the one film that I was in.
It's right over here. Yeah, there it is.
Is that, yeah, in the background? Yep. I was about to say, yeah, you've made your own dilithium crystal chamber. You've made these screens. You made your captain's chair. I was gonna say, in fact, you made the one for Georgia. When I visited there was no chair there. So in fact, one of my films setting the stage, I actually stood in place of the chair because there was no chair there. I thought, man, how many people get to stand where the chair should be? Fuck it, I'm gonna go film this. You know.
That's right.
But that's the thing that you know you've gotten to do a lot of things that most people never get to do. And that's, you know, it's damn, you know.
Yeah, I was incredibly honored when the new owner, Ray Tessie, when he bought the sets from Star Trek Continues, and he said, "Hey, I need a chair," and I go, "Well, I got one I'm working on." So, you know, I finished that, and then I go, "I'm going to make you one from scratch." So I made two more in tandem, and got his finished. Matter of fact, I have a photograph. It's one of my favorite photographs. It's the two chairs sitting together in my living room. Mm-hmm. So I said, you never see two captain's chairs in one location. And then I, you know, rented a truck and I drove it down to Georgia and went in there. And of course, there's empty spot and got to lay it on there and put all the buttons on there. You helped me too. That was awesome. So got to put that on there. So there's like three of my pieces in Georgia. You know, there's the captain's chair, and then there's the desktop viewer and the captain's quarters, and then the dilithium chamber and engineering. So I just feel incredibly honored that my set pieces are there when people film their fan films. So when I see people, I go, yeah, their butts in my chair.
See, and well, before we continue, we do have another personal friend, Randy Wren, or David Wren in the chat. Welcome. That is a Dreadnought Dominion. He plays the chief engineer on the Dreadnought Dominion. Welcome. I'm glad you're able to be here tonight. Thank you for stopping by and staying with us in the chat, man. I appreciate it. So that being said, you guys said you had filmed not only the film with Frank, but you guys had filmed another film. Is there anything spoiler-wise or non-spoiler-wise, just anything you could tell us about that description-wise? Just kind of giving us a hint of what's to come for Dreadnought Dominion?
Well, let's see what... I think Randy teases what they're going to be on our website, but, you know, it advertises this as, you know, we pick up a 300-year-old spacecraft containing a flash-frozen cosmonaut. So they're Russian, and it's a fish out of water scenario. And it was really fun because one of Randy's superpowers is casting. And he actually cast two young men who I believe are their parents are from the Ukraine. So they knew Russian. So they didn't have to fake anything. So it was great having them on the set. So, and, you know, the name of the production is The More Things Change. And, you know, we've got a picture of, the Dominion picking up the Soyuz spacecraft on our website, and it's a contrast to where kind of like talking about what Earth was like back in the 60s and what the Federation and Serge and Vlad, those guys were awesome. But a comparison between the Soviet Union and the United States and the Federation and the Dominion, the Romulans. So it was really fun filming that as well.
Well, that's the one thing that I love about fan films. It allows you to tell the social commentaries in a way that I feel like classic Trek does, and I feel that modern Trek has somewhat gotten away from. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit hammered over the head. Sometimes I feel like it's not necessarily appropriate. Like, I feel like these fan films give you a sense of being able to flesh out some of these stories in a more personal way. What's your take on that? Do you agree, or?
Oh, I totally agree. And Randy and I, we've come to terms that we're never going to be on the level of Star Trek Continues. And there are other big boys out there like the Avalon universe, which just rocks. So Randy and I have settled into a routine where we just want to be out of the box, and we want to do stories where we're going out there to solve problems and explore things. So you won't see a lot of phasers firing and a lot of space battles. We do run up against Romulans. We do that again, and the more things change. But and people have observed on our critiques that we're a bit older and a little bit bigger. So we're the ship that they don't send to go battle. They send the smart guys, the wise ones, to go figure out what's going on. So
wait a second. Are you saying that Trekkies are a little harsh on the fan film? What?
Just a little. I've always joked. I said, if somebody doesn't like my show, I will give them double their money back.
There you go, man. Full refund plus some.
Full
there you
refund. Go. So, but Randy just comes up with these stories. Like I said, they're out of the box. Look at We Are Many. The protagonist. We had a bad guy on there, but the main thing was this alien that encompassed an entire moon. Talk about big aliens, and Randy thought that up. And then we've had heists and just character development. Like my favorite is the one I did with Tracy. A deaf communications officer. So that was one of my favorite things. I joked about that and I go, what's next? A blind navigator? Because Geordi was on Next Generation. And then our stuff, the two shining crowns in the Dreadnought Dominion arena as Command and Conquer and Chain of Command. Those were out of the box. We didn't have a set to do on, so we just made something. So yeah, the fan films, there are some great ones out there, and I don't knock anyone that puts anything down on film and uploads it to YouTube, but we just try to be a little bit different and be out of the box.
Well, and that's the thing. It's nothing flatters me more than when someone hits the thumbs down on one of my videos.
Yep.
Because one, you bothered enough to care to hate it.
That's right. That's right.
Because I'll be honest, to the people I don't care about, I don't fucking go to their channel. And if you're coming to my channel to hit the thumbs down button, get a fucking life.
That's right.
And if you have to leave a comment to say you hate something, that says you've got a bad mental state as well. Because to me, I'd rather be like, I don't like this. I'm just going to go to something else. And I simply just ignore it. And I feel like there's too many of those people out there that they want to make their voice heard. Or I got to let them know that I don't like that. Yeah, you know what? You don't bother me. I don't care. It's, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to do my next film.
Yeah.
And doesn't care, Well,
that's why I had fun with it. So, I took one of my favorite songs, and Randy, help me out. What's the name of the song? But the song keeps going. I get knocked down and I get up again. And so I did.
It's by Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba.
Thumb thumping or something
like that.
Yeah.
I love that song. So I did a video that made fun of all the negative remarks that we've gotten, because for every negative remark that we've gotten 10 positives. So, I mean, my goodness gracious, they don't matter at all. So I wanted to make fun of them. Yep. And then it was really ironic. You know, as soon as we released the video, I had a negative comment about that video. and somebody said, "You just gave him ammunition for the next one." And I said, dang straight.
No, that's exactly it. Because I mean, that's the thing. When you're sitting there and you're going on like Ray Tessie's set, you know, and you're walking down that long ass corridor, wow, you know, like to feel like a kid again. Like to me, like that's there's only two real times that I've ever felt like a kid. One, it's when I walked on the bridge for the first time, and you close the door behind you know at the first starbase in Oklahoma. And you shut the door and you're fully encapsulated in the 360 bridge.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
oh, that was awesome.
I felt like a kid. Like, and then when I walked down Ray's corridor, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, I mean, because I felt like when I was watching Next Generation on that little 8-inch black and white TV in my mom's kitchen, and I was like, oh my God, you know, and that's no negative comment, no thumbs down button is going to be like, you know, me having a good time and feeling good about myself is worth. Oh, I got to give up now, you know, and that's, you know, and again, you and I've had a great friendship for 5-6 years, you know, enough to where I've lost count. I consider you and Randy like family.
Same.
You know, it's to, you know, Frank I've known for 6 months, and I've even told Frank, dude, I fucking hated you. I had no respect for you. I thought you were a piece of crap. No. Yeah, and now I call the dude every day, you know, just because I'm like, hey Frank, I'm bored. I'm driving home. You got to keep me up because I'm about to fall asleep, you know. You know, I love the dude, you know. And you know, it's one of those things where it's like you have so many memories with the fan film people. Yeah. The negativity out there. Fuck that, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's one of my favorite times to shoot the show, even though it's a very stressful 3 or 4 days, and those are my better quality. So
this is why we keep you around, Frank. That's
right. But getting together with our Dreadnought Dominion family, you know, Dan Scanlon is our sound guy and our XO on the Dominion, and I love being around him, and he always takes a moment when we wrap to come shake my hand and say, thank you for letting me do this. Thank you for putting this show on, because to him, you know, this is a break from real life, because, you know, he's got a hard job. He's a crime reporter. So on a nightly basis, he might be going out covering somebody who died, an accident, anything like that. So to have this positive experience and, you know, 3 to 4 days of just making Star Trek. And that's another one of my favorite expressions from our first director, Scotty Whitehurst. You know, he was watching one of the monitors and he says, you know, folks, we're making Star Trek. So it's those moments that will live with me for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like you. I think just the fact that you get to make I mean, you and Tracy's relationship, I adore. Oh, I do. I mean, you guys have had, I mean, when we did Chain of Command, and you know, did we put Tracy in that one, or was that Command and Conquer first time?
We did both. Okay,
I thought it was, but like just the fact that we were able to put her in there, and I was like, man, his wife, because I'm like, Mona's only been in Chain of Command, and like she's not because of the drama that usually goes along with a lot of fan films. Like she tends to stay away from. You know, she'll go on the trip and then she'll take Royce and go do whatever while I'm filming. But she tends to stay away from fan films. But I love the fact that you and Tracy share that. And that's something that I know that I'm not really ever going to share with Mona. Now I get to share that with Royce. And I love that. But I love you and Tracy, how you guys have created not only a character for her, but a relationship between you guys, and one that I can actually see. And having created the character of Emily for Menard, like, I love seeing the fact that, hey, here's this other relationship that is in Star Trek, one that's believable and relatable. And I fucking dig it, man. It's great. It's good character stuff, and it's more than just CGI explosions and phasers and graphics. It's that human element, and I love that.
Yeah, it's great. And I love that I can include my wife. She was never a Star Trek fan before she met me, and now she's getting in the red miniskirt and getting on the show. The first time we shot a production, she was just saying, "I just don't want them to see my butt," because the thing was so short. And the costume didn't quite fit. And I said, "Don't worry, we're not going to shoot you from behind." And then the director said, "Tracy, I want you to come here and then go up the corridor." And she looked at me and says, "You're going to see my..." I said, "No, you look fine. You look fine." But she has a ball with it. So, we first started including her. I would give her like 1 or 2 lines. Like, when we did Chain of Command, it was, "Sir, you've got a call from the Valiant." That one line was so hard for her to be able to speak it, because, she speaks very well, but if subspace and warp drive, those don't exist in her vocabulary. So that was one of the reasons that we decided to just go the opposite way and make her character deaf. And then, we just have the universal translator translate her signing. And then she gets to wear her glasses on set, because with her, she sees sign while we talk. And Randy Wren's daughter, Jessica, she voices the character of Paula Tompkins, which, the character is named after her dad. Her dad was Paul Tompkins. So we honor him as well. He passed a few years ago, but it's great to be able to have Tracy on set, and people love her. And when we shoot her lines, we don't have to go quiet on the set. So we don't. And they say, "Yeah, we're shooting Tracy's lines. It's all dull, no audio." It's perfect. It's perfect.
The way that sounds like shooting, you might find more people like that, just so shooting go by quicker. That sounds like a really awesome setup.
Oh, definitely.
So Power 543 fan films, welcome. It says, "Do you want to talk about all your new VFX fun things, new Dominion model, way more detailed?" Welcome, Power 543. I don't recognize you here, so you must be new. Welcome. But Gary, is that something you want to talk about?
Oh, yes. Well, Sam Cockings is our VFX supervisor. And, when he came on board, he used the model that Joey Bonas had done for us. So a lot of our productions use that new model that Joey did, and then Sam would animate it. And Sam was always after me. He says, you should totally redo that model. So I sunk the funds into it, and Sam and 2 individuals, their names are on the credits. They just knocked it out of the ballpark. Redesigned the Dominion from the keel up, bow to stern, just adding different elements. And what was great is, Sam's he's like me. He's a Star Trek purist. So we went back to the Franz Joseph technical manual, and he created a model that was both like the original, but adding in just so many cool little elements. But when you look at it, there's no doubt that's the Franz Joseph Dreadnought, which, by the way, Frank got permission from Franz Joseph's family to use that in our show. And matter of fact, Franz Joseph's daughter has liked our show, and she's made comments on the show and said, "That's a great looking ship." And he's doing the Frank's new ship, a 4 nacelle ship called the USS Harrison. Yeah, I've joked to Frank. I go, yeah, you left me with a 3 nacelle ship. Now you have to have one with 4 engines. So you got to outdo me a little bit. But yeah, like I said, the VFX team that works on our show is just amazing. And Sam and the redesigned Dominion is just a thing of beauty, and it's worth everything that we put into it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I don't think anybody can ever, say that Sam, goes cheap or goes lazy. Like, he always pulls out all the stops, no matter what he seems to be working on.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
He does a really good job on everything he does. I look forward to seeing, not only your upcoming projects, but Frank's, because based on the pictures that he showed me, and then what you showed me before the, program, I'm really ecstatic to see the Harrison, just from the fact that, the thing about modern Trek is a lot of films just have, it's the Oprah, Korath has turned into Oprah, so thank you, Korath.
Y'all getting the cells.
But that's the one thing that I don't, I didn't care about fan films, was like everybody wanted a Constitution class ship. That was one reason why, I knew my limitations of what I would have. So that's why I was like, let's make the nacelles blue. Even though like on this version of a Constitution, it's supposed to be red, having it blue would visually make it a little different,
because out of the box.
Because I knew that no matter what artist I had, changing it blue would be somewhat easy. But I knew not every artist I had would be able to grab whatever model, or not every program they would, so I knew, given, limitations, this is something that's easy to do. But the one thing I love about Dreadnought Dominion, it's not, you look at it visually and you're like, oh, I know what show this is. And the same thing with the Harrison. When people finally see the final thing that Sam's coming up with, you look at it and you're like, oh, this is definitely different. And it just makes you excited because it feels very retro sci-fi. And that was something that I talked to Frank about when we were going over like what it should look like, and we were looking at that picture, as I was like, this looks very fucking retro 1940s Buck Rogers, like this is very cool, but yet it looks very Starfleet. And looking at what you've shown me that Sam has done, it just looks so much more upgraded, but yet still very classic sci-fi. And that's very cool. And that's something that not a lot of people can do, because either CGI looks very cheap or not very, very well done. He always seems to put it together very nicely.
Sam always brings it. I mean, geez, this production, I gave him examples of what I wanted. I went and found actual Trek renders and things from episodes, and gave him a guideline of what I wanted. And if he just took it to do a whole new level, and I was just like, that's exactly what I was thinking of. And he just does it great.
Well, one last thing before we go, you've come up with an entirely new crew that kind of shifted over 5 years or so, give or take 4 or 5 years. What was it like going from kind of picking up the pieces when Frank left to kind of taking it on your shoulders, to carrying the torch to where you are now, where you are, and I know some might not agree with me on this, they can fuck off. I think you're one of the staples in the community.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. I mean, George Kyan, I think, is another. Randy Landers, I think, is another. I mean, you may not have the $50,000, $100,000, whatever that Star Trek can teach, but when you think of fan films, you think of, Potemkin Pictures, you think of Dominion Media, you think of George Kyan, I forget what his, like you think of people like that, because you guys have the visual. What's it like going in such a short amount of time. I mean, and when I say short amount of time, dude, fuck, 6 years is a huge amount of time, to have done this. Because I know for me, it's like, dude, I've aged a lot in that amount of time. Like, I had hair when we first started this, and now,
I still have hair. I'm good.
Right. What's it like having shifted such a dynamic in not only character tone but taken on your life, because it's completely shifted, I think, for you personally?
Yeah, well, first it's humbling. I'm very humble that when Randy and I first of all, I'm humbled that I have such a great production partner like Randy. We talk every day, and chat and video chat, and we're both on the same wavelength. Sometimes he's saying, I got this idea, and I go, yeah, I had the same idea, you took it right out of my head. And we try something, yeah, I love it. But just the fact that we have these other people that give their time. Larry Fleming, he lives in Atlanta, and he's a professional actor. He's been on the Avengers. He was just in the last Avengers movie, and I think he's in this new show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But he takes time out to not only come and act on our show, but he be the director of photography. And Dan Scanlon, like I mentioned earlier, he's got a day job down in Jacksonville, and he comes and he's our sound recordist. And Alan Anderson, he's also a sound recordist, and he brings these thousands of dollars of equipment that I'm just like, what is that? And makes our show sound so well. And then just the plethora of actors and actresses that just show up. Like I said, that's Randy's superpower, is to find these people. Like, where did you find them? And he goes, well, I just said that we're doing a Star Trek show. And they go, oh, I want to be in it. And, we get on the set, and, I'm just reading my lines that previous night. And I sit down with these actors and actresses that make me feel like a 5 at a Miss America pageant. And they know my lines and their lines. And I had a briefing room scene where I hadn't even looked at the script before I sat down, and they helped me through it. That was the briefing room scene from The Heist. That was all done cold, and those folks helped me through. So I'm just humbled by all these people that could just continually show up. Randy and I worry that when we come up with a date, he says, well, pick 3 weekends, because you don't know who's going to be able to do this. And I go, well, I'm going to put what's good for me first and see what they say. And everybody goes, yep, we will be there. We'll be there. And people like John Sims, who, that man is just an amazing actor. And, he takes the lion's share of some of the drama as our resident Q. And one production, he played everything. He played like 8 different parts. And
right.
So that's what it's been like. So I've just had enormous luck to have people that consider this a great opportunity and time to gather, and we share a meal together, and we have lunch at the set, and the production people, Royal and Sam and Ray at the set, those people are just amazing people to work with. So that's how I feel, just humbled that they are there, and it's not my show, it's not Randy's show, it's our show. And everybody has ownership in this, because I retired from the Navy up there, and when I was in the Navy, everybody contributed to the mission, from the captain to the able seaman who was pulling the lines. If everyone didn't do their job, the ship couldn't get underway, and we couldn't get out there and stop the bad guys, because that's what our mission was. So everybody has ownership of mission on Dreadnought Dominion. Even if they're there for just one episode, we had two actors come down, and they both died at the end, but they brought it. And I guess I'm going to use the word again. I was just humbled, and I can't pay anybody to come down. But one thing I do is, I buy all the costumes and put them all together, and I give the costumes to the actors and actresses. And that's my payment. When I say, hey, that costume you're wearing, you get to take it home. And the look on their face, like they just won the lottery or something. I mean, I never get tired of that. I'm sorry. So whenever I do it, I go, that's yours. Take that home. And it's like I said, it's the least I could do for these amazing people.
Well, that's the one thing I think you've earned that kind of spot, of that family type feel, especially after seeing, John sit at Sulu Station for so long. That's kind of become his spot at Ray's sets, and Larry Fleming over in Chekhov's, that's kind of his unofficial spot, because we've seen them there how many times now,
a lot. We had Larry join us for Reality Check and Silent Acknowledgement and Technical Difficulties and Redemption, and Larry he comes down. And the last production, he unfortunately couldn't make it because he's got some gallstone issues. And I perfectly understood. That's why I had to be the DP and screwed it up. But we got some really professionals to come in to do Passenger with Baggage and The More Things Change. So we had good video for those, and then Sam helped out as well when the professional DPs had to skedaddle back to North Carolina. But all these people, they just make it happen.
I was gonna say the one thing when I think Dreadnought Dominion, in at least its current state, the one thing I think of is and it's a shot that I see in my head. And it's from right in front of John's, in front of John, and you can kind of see Larry over off to the side a little bit, and it's right in front of John, and you're in between them, and then you see Tracy in the back. And in my mind, when I think current incarnation of Dreadnought Dominion, I just think of that one shot, because I remember when I saw that, I was like, that right there is a perfect, man, if you screen cap, great publicity shot, and to me that's a perfect, this is just a great moment. This is a great picture. This is perfect symbology of, you go to, season 1 of Next Generation, and it's not quite where it will be, but then you get to season 7 and they're all playing poker. Picard's like, man, I should have done this a long time ago. And that's where they're at, and that's kind of when I saw that moment, I was like, that's the poker game. That's the poker game. And I loved it because, granted, it didn't have everybody, but I recognized everybody in that, and I was like, that's Dreadnought Dominion right there. And but
they're my they're my family. They're my extended family, and I just love being around them.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I feel about doing my films. When we actually go on set, you get that sense of family, and you having done it many more times than I can imagine you feel it more than I do. I envy you, my friend. You have a wonderful set of people working with you, and I wish you guys many more films. I can't wait to see what you guys have coming. Now, you guys, when you guys finally do have it, you guys are shooting for, what was it, May, I think it was, for Passengers with Baggage? Passenger with Baggage?
That's subjective. We haven't even started. No, Passenger with Baggage, yes, at the end of the month or by May, yes. And no ETA for The More Things Change.
Okay, and you guys are doing, was it a watch party on Macworld's Entertainment for that one, or?
Yep, we'll do a watch party for that. Trey did our redemption. We Are Many. So that's what we're gonna hang our hat for our premiere parties from now on. Okay, awesome. So when that comes out, and is that beginning of May or end of May or beginning
just sometime?
May.
Beginning of May. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. We're close. I mean, we are so close to getting it done. But Randy and I just obsess over every little detail, and it's
Right.
never going to be done. But once we have to say, okay, just let it loose out into the open. We got to get it out to the public.
Well, he just got done editing a film, Palomino, for me, and that he said the same thing. He's like, never done. You just you let it loose or something like that. And I remember sitting there, that's kind of a weird. I like that. I like that. All right. So once it premieres, it's going to be released there for a watch party. We can all tune in, watch it, be good to go. Anyone that's interested in tuning in there, you'll update us. You'll let us know. So all that, more films to come. You're going to keep with us, and you're not leaving us anytime soon, right?
No, matter of fact, we have another spin-off series coming soon, and that's where we're going to use the Runabout series. It's going to be called Project Runabout. So we'll have Randy and I are going to spend more time behind the camera shooting young, skinny people this time. And
what?
I just have to entice people. I'm going to leave it to Randy because that's his superpower. I want him to say, we're shooting this Star Trek show and it's in this guy's basement. Is that okay? So I'm going to let him do that. But
I could just see Randy with like this stapler putting up papers, on these flagpoles or these telephone poles. Come shoot in this guy's basement. That's the best way to get him, Randy. I'm your idea guy, Randy. I got you, man.
Right. Well, that's why I'm going to release the video of the set, hopefully to entice people like, wow, that's in the basement? Because, my Romulan ship from an episode back was in the basement. So I can make it look, like I said, I can cheat things pretty good.
There you go, my friend. All right. Well, it's been a little over an hour. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, man. Oh, awesome, man. As always, it is a pleasure to talk with you. I do consider you a good friend, part of my fan film family. On behalf of fans, I want to say thank you for keeping the fan film flame going, especially in a post guideline world where a lot of people were just convinced, oh, the sky is falling. You've proven that no. As long as your heart's in the right place, you can keep going.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that being said, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for doing what you do in fan films, and just thank you for being an all-around decent human being.
You too.
Oh, I can live with that lie. Thank you. So, all right, guys, and everybody at home, don't forget on, like I said, the schedule. We have on Mondays at 9 a.m. Pizza Roll Diaries usually. So come check us out. If you forgot what the schedule was, just go back to the beginning of the video. I ramble on there. I'm not going to ramble again because we'll be here for another 15 minutes. Thank you for everybody who watched this live. I appreciate it. And if you're watching this on Rewind, thank you. I mean, you guys could have been anywhere. You chose to be here with me and Gary. So I thank you. I really appreciate that. With that in mind, everyone be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.